I'm Camelia from Secure. So today I'm going to talk with about how to integrate the third-party scanners into GitLab. And a little bit background is what is third-party integration. So it's like now, like before, if I said before, it's like without integration, like GitLab provides certain scanners for like different scan tab like SAS and DAST. And in the future, and we will get to allow user to bring their own scanners to GitLab platform. For example, like they can bring, oh, I should mention the name. They can bring some others for SAST. Now we will have like 2 scanners for SAST. And why this is valuable for the user, because like they can manage everything from one platform. And usually like a lot of ultimate user, they already paid for some scanners, which are quite expensive and they want to keep using them. And also like with integrated into GitLab, the one advantages is to put it to our like CI/CD workflow. And the opportunity for us is like we can become the best platform to manage vulnerabilities, and we can have like easy setup, configuration, auto-run scanners, great experience to manage larger amount of vulnerabilities. If we can reach that, I think like we will become a really kind of a great product in the market, give us a lot of unique selling points. And also we can learn from like other vendors' product, what information they provide, like why users like to use them, and to improve our own product. For this project, like the job to be done could be when a user use more than one scanner for the same type, and the user wants to have an easy and consistent way to manage and triage the result, so they can make sure that their project will protected. And I think the keywords here is easy and consistent, and you probably will hear me repeat those words a lot. And like, if we want to break this job to down to be some more specific question, how may help the user? And the first one is in the setup area. How can we help user to set up the configuration the same way at the GitLab scanners? And also, how can we help them to manage like vulnerabilities from different scanners when they provide different informations, and maybe like use different ways to present data? And also like for the workflow, how can we make sure that all the scanner, when they integrated, they will have like same workflow as our scanners? For example, user go to dashboard and go to certain vulnerabilities, or like they go to pipeline first to check the vulnerabilities detected by certain pipelines. So we need to make sure no matter which flow user choose, which scanner user are using, they should be consistent and a good experience. So for the MVC plan for this kind of breakdown questions, and the first one and the third one will be like straightforward for MVC. That for the first one, we will create a very like detailed technical integration documents that the third party have to follow, like the GitLab user have to follow, and they have to integrate it based on our guidelines. And also for the workflow, we will create like a visual playbook, is like a prototyping for example project, so they know that usually how our current scanners works, and which page they can put the scanner result in. And the focus point is how can we really help user to manage and triage their vulnerabilities when they have like more than one scanners for the same type. And I will talk more details. So the situations for this could be when they have more than 2 scanners detect the same vulnerability, and they might just want to triage only one. So they don't want to like go over the list and see 3 similar ones and do the same actions on the same ones. It's like duplicated work. And another point is when the different scanners provide different informations, how we display them. And the situation could be the third party have data that GitLab usually do not provide. How do we display them? And when the third party does not have the data GitLab usually provides, what do we do? And also the conflicting information. If we show, like if the two scanners provide different, for example, severity for the same vulnerability, how do we do that? And those are some problem like examples. So for example, this page illustrated like on the right-hand side, there are like 3 vulnerabilities are the same on the list. If you don't do anything with the current dashboard finding list, user will see like this. And they will be confused like why those things looks the same. And if like they are like not close together, and it's not easier for user to identify they're similar. So we need to help them first identify those are the similar ones, and then like help them to triage them in an easier way. And this is the problem about showing different information. So this is a little bit exaggerated, but it's good illustration of the problem. For example, on the top are the information we usually display to a user, and from the GitLab scanner, and the others, like in the red circle, is the data provided by the third party. And if we don't do any design improvement, they probably will just like show up like this. And depends on the scanner, the others will change. And how can we make it better? So this is a smaller problem, so I will introduce the solution first. So for this, what we plan to do is not display the information in 2 big chunks, like GitLab information, GitLab information and third-party information, but we will like have 3 general like groups about like what's this vulnerability is, and the location, like we can help the user to locate the vulnerability where in the code it is, in which project, and also how to fix it. So what the third party like integration need to do, they have to put them into those 3 big groups. And if the third party vendor provide a data point that doesn't exist, and they can just add them in the group, like with the name that they prefer to choose. And if they don't have the data we usually provide, like to make sure that our user don't think that this is a bug, we still display the title, but in the content part, we will say unknown, and we will tell them why. So that's the information part, and this is about the list view. And remember, before I showed the problem is like if you don't do anything, like there are certain vulnerabilities, like they look very similar, and it's very annoying for user to triage them one by one. So the very basic kind of MVC we can do is to add 2 columns of information to help them to detect similar ones and tell them why. So identifier is kind of a universal standard for vulnerabilities. If they have like the same number, there is a high chance like those are the same vulnerabilities. So by showing the identifier there, like it's easier for us to tell user that those could be the same. And with showing the scanner name, we can tell them why they're the same. And also by adding like the batch actions, like user can like dismiss the ones that's like duplicated, or they don't want to triage them. So that's something they can do like quickly. So this is option 1. And option 2 we can do is like helping them to manually like group the similar ones we detected. So when user first land on this page, like for the very first time when they integrate the third-party scanners. And when we detect there are some similar ones, we show them like a notification, tell them that we have detected some vulnerabilities that might be similar. And what you can do is you can group them into one. If they click on the group them into one vulnerability, and it will show like this. So it will be like a collapsed and expanded view that user can see that those are like basically one, and they can create one issue out of it. They can dismiss it altogether, or like if they don't think they should be grouped, they can also ungroup them later. And if user click on ungroup, like we just undo the feature, but we have a notification there, which like we can collect some informations to let user tell us why, like they want to ungroup them because they're not similar or because there is no need to group. In this case, like we can learn that what are the patterns for user to group and ungroup them, and we can like improve our grouping algorithm. If you click on select similar vulnerabilities, I think like it will detect the next one, like which are similar, and user can do the same action, group into one vulnerability, or like dismiss them together and something like that. Sorry, I was just checking the time. And the third option is auto group. And I think after we learn enough information about how user group them, and we can do is, we don't need to tell them that they need to do the action to group them. They can group it for the user. And we will just show a small icon to indicate it, hey, this is grouped by GitLab's like a security bot. And yeah, you can still ungroup them or do some other actions. So like when we are good enough, we hope that we don't make any mistakes about grouping, but if we do, users still have the action to correct them. So those are the proposals. And what we will do next is do a user interview and to ask them what they generally do in the situation when they use different vendors for the same scanner type. What is their current kind of habits, or like what are their ideal ways, and also do the prototyping test about the solution I provided before. And I hope with the user interview and the prototyping test, it can help us to identify that which solution would be best to go for an MVC and what would be the ideal. So we can make a decision based on the results, and depends on the technical difficulties and the user desire. I think like slowly we can move from MVC version to ideal version. I think that's it. Any questions?